All right, just to confirm for the listeners who I have on the phone here, it is the one and only tandem duo of Starz and Deeza. Is it you?
Yo.
Yo, yo.
I think that was Starz and then Deeza. Am I right there?
Yeah, man.
That's right.
Awesome. And let's start with Starz. Starz, how you doing today?
Yeah, real good, man. Just having a nice chilled evening.
That's nice.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. I was actually just telling Deeza here, I almost got hit by a car as I was
No way.
just now. Yeah, that's actually what just happened about 10 minutes ago. Crossing an intersection, someone making a left turn didn't see me and just came flying to make their left turn, and I jumped back with my two dogs, and they slammed in front of me. So I didn't get out of the way. They were able to stop. If they wouldn't have stopped, I would have been hit with my dogs.
Man.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But
But
that's an escape, man.
it is, and it makes you appreciate life a little bit more, right?
For sure. For sure.
Deeza,
Bless you.
how you doing, man?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Thank you. We've been really busy with our releases the last couple of days. We had one come out yesterday, another one in 2 days' time. So busy with the releases, busy with making music. So everything's busy all the time, man.
I can't imagine. I want to get more into the music you guys are making and talk about some of those new releases, but I'd like to ask you some fun questions first, get to know you guys as people rather than artists. Is that okay?
Yeah, man.
That's
All-
cool.
All right, Starz, I want to ask you, do you remember what the first concert you ever attended as a child was?
Yeah, man. Spice Girls.
Spice Girls! That's
Yeah,
awesome.
man. I think I was about 8 years old, and I was absolutely obsessed with them. I absolutely loved the Spice Girls when I was growing up. And yeah, for my birthday, I think it was, my mum got us tickets to go and see them at Wembley Arena. It was amazing.
Okay, I was going to say, how was it? Have you seen them again since?
No, I haven't. I had an opportunity to go and see them last year, but yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit old for that now.
Okay, be honest, are you still pumping the CD in the car when no one's listening?
Not really, unfortunately. I mean, randomly get some of their songs stuck in my head, just randomly. But I don't really listen to them anymore. To be honest, I might dig them out on Spotify.
Deeza, let me ask you, do you remember what the first album you ever purchased with your own money as a child was?
Yeah, do you know what? I think it was Cypress Hill, Black Sunday.
Oh, wow. You know, I saw that you
I
guys...
used to go.
Sorry, go ahead.
I used to go looking for hip hop CDs, yeah, and I didn't really know any of the names I was looking at. I was uneducated on the topic, but I used to just look for the parental advisory explicit content sign, yeah, and if it had that, then the cover looked sick, then I was like, yeah, I think I want that one. And I remember the Black Sunday Cypress Hill album really stood out to me, and and I went and bought that, and I loved it. I still love it to this day.
Yeah, that's an album that's held the test of time, and you know, with the, what do they call themselves now? The Prophets of Rage.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The amalgam of Public Enemy and Rage Against the Machine and Cypress Hill, and they're still doing an amazing job on stage, rocking those songs. So,
Yeah, man.
Starz, let me ask you something fun. Do you remember what your favorite childhood cartoon was?
Oh, I loved cartoons. Boy, there's loads, but I'd probably say, off the top of my head, one that was always part of my childhood was Tom and Jerry.
I
Do you
wasn't
guys
sure.
know Tom and Jerry out there?
You know what's funny is as soon as you said it, I didn't know you guys had Tom and Jerry out there. Where was Tom?
No way.
Where was it made? I think it was made in America, wasn't it?
I think so. I can't remember, but I used to watch that religiously. I used to love that program. I spent hours watching it. I had various videos of it when I was a kid growing up, and yeah, absolutely loved that show, man. I think that was one that was in my childhood from when I was really young, right through till I was about a teenager.
That's
And I
awesome.
quite happily still sit down and watch an episode now, no problem.
It does, especially smoke a couple bowls, throw on a little Tom and Jerry.
man.
And the thing I love about it too is there was never talking. It was just, you know, music and this animation, and you were entertained to the fullest, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, I still love cartoons to this day, man. I've got my ringtone on my phone is do you ever remember that program Cat Dog?
No, that one I don't think we got. I don't think we had that over here.
Oh, it was a mad program. It was like a cat and a dog that was like stuck together. They were one animal, and they used to go on all these mad adventures, and literally it's got the best theme tune ever, and it's my current ringtone.
You know who I think brought up Cat Dog as one of their favorite cartoons was Virgo Dawn. Now that you mention it, I think he mentioned something like,
really?
"I am Cat Dog," and I was like, "What are you
Yeah.
talking about?" But
Cat Dog's amazing. You should look it up, man. It's amazing. One of those really wacky cartoons. Like whoever wrote it must have been literally off their face. Like it was just mad.
I love that about cartoons, man. Deeza, back to you for a moment. This is kind of a quirky one. I got to ask you: do you live in a house that you built with your own hands?
No, I wish. I'm actually a qualified bricklayer. That was my trade, sort of on the side before I was full time on music. And so one of my dreams was always actually to build my own house. Maybe still one day I will. But no, currently we just live in a house that was built by someone else.
Well, that's a beautiful thing to have that ability and that dream in mind. Okay, then let me ask you this: is there a structure that you assisted in erecting that you look at and go, "I helped build that"? Like to this day, you look at and you're
Yeah, man.
Well, tell me.
Yeah, it was actually the first job I had when I left construction college. There's a big, massive, crazy like spaceship looking building in between Battersea Bridge and Chelsea Bridge in London. And yeah, that one, whenever I drive past it, I'm like, oh yeah, I worked on that one.
That's awesome, man. And you know what? Good luck to you. I hope you do get your dream home one day.
Thank you, man.
Well, and you know what? Having the ability, I suck with my hands, man. You know, I wouldn't even be able to. I can't build a house of cards, let alone try to. And I wouldn't even know what a foundation is. I just start putting shit on top, and you know, I would suck. Even right now, walking around my neighborhood, seeing them build stuff, I'm pointing to the like, what's that? What's that? So. I admire people that have the abilities that you do, and like I say, I hope you build your home one day.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I hope so too.
Okay, Starz, having been together, I believe, since 2008, how did you two first meet?
Funny story. So I started raving when I was like 14. I used to just go out, and as soon as I started raving, that was it. It just swallowed me up basically, and I used to go raving as much as I possibly could. And then when I was like 16, I wanted to go out to this rave that I knew was on out in Brixton in London, and none of my friends, my normal raving friends, wanted to go out, so I ended up calling one of my old friends and who's not into raving at all, and I said to her, right, come, let's go to this rave. So she, bless her, she was like, I know you want to go out, so let's go out. We went out, and she randomly, literally, she was talking loads of rubbish to me in the rave, and it was almost like a scene out of a movie. She turned around and asked me, who do you think's the hottest guy in the rave? And I rolled my eyes and was like, oh, this bloody question. And then it was like the crowd parted in the rave, and this light just shone on Deeza. And I was like, ooh, he's beautiful. And I pointed at him, and then he walked over to me and said, why are you pointing at me for? And I was like, well, my friend asked me who I thought was hot, and I said you. And then that was it. We started talking from there, went outside, smoked a joint. And then swapped MySpaces at the time. This was the days of MySpace. We swapped MySpaces, and then carried on talking from there. And the rest is history, as they say.
The rest is history. You know what it reminds me of? Have you ever seen Wayne's World?
Yeah.
You remember when he sees Cassandra and Dreamweaver starts playing?
Dreamweaver,
I believe I can. That's awesome. But that's a beautiful story. I love hearing it. Okay, let me ask you something over to Deeza here. What is, quote unquote, the bar booth?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bar booth. That's our studio.
And how was it erected? Like, was it how did it begin? What was the mission statement behind it? And what is it at right now?
Originally, we basically wanted to start getting in the studio and recording some professional mixes, and we were pretty friendly with the likes of Funster, Urban Dub, Navigator, Harry Shotter, and they were all using this guy Urban Dub, his studio. And so we got in touch with him, and we went up to his studio to record a few mixes. They always came out good. We were really happy with the sound, but we realized very quickly that time is money when you're in the studio, and you can't do things. You can't record bits 10 times, 20 times, because it's costing you a fortune. And you get to a point sometimes where you just record something and you say, okay, you know, that will do. I can't keep going over it 10 times. So after a few mixes we did up there, we decided enough was enough. We needed to really set up a studio at home so that we can take our time with it. We can record it until we're happy with it, and we believe that it's the best it can be. So we decided to set up a studio at our house, and I went out, I bought a MacBook and a couple of little monitor speakers and a little mixer, and we had a spare cupboard in our old place. We had this little 2-bedroom flat, and so we had a walk-in cupboard, and literally we just emptied the whole thing out, and we set up we put acoustic foam all over the walls, the ceiling, everything. Yeah. And so that was how the name, the bar booth, was actually born, because it was literally like a booth. It was like a vocal booth. Yeah, what you would use for a vocal booth, but it would fit 2 people in, one person standing up at the mic and another person just sitting down on the one chair that could fit in there, in front of the MacBook. And so we spent hours and hours and hours in this little cupboard in our house. And then eventually when we moved house, we moved into a bigger place, a 3-bedroom. And so we set up a whole studio in the bedroom, in the 3rd bedroom. And then, now we've got the studio we've got today. We've upgraded bits here and there, but it's nice, bigger space, much better sound we get in there. And obviously with a lot more experience now, we believe we make a much better sound from there.
That's amazing to me. It's admirable to hear you utilize the circumstances and the tools you had to make what you did. And the quality that you guys are making is unbelievable. It's right up there with everything else you hear coming out of professional studios. I have to ask, I see both of you as lyricists. Are either one of you producers?
We both.
Technically, both.
Yeah, we actually both can produce, and we both can DJ as well. When I first got into music, I was a DJ, and I was mixing on vinyls and stuff because my brother got a set of decks, and he introduced me to drum and bass actually, and he had some of the classics like Original Nutter and Warhead and some other bits like this on vinyl, and so I got into drum and bass that way, and I started mixing, and I used to go to record stores and look for new tunes, but it was expensive, man. We're paying £5-6 a record, and it's expensive. There's just no other way around it, really, especially back then. And so I started writing a few lyrics and just getting on the mic when we were at parties. And then I loved it, basically, and I realized it was free compared to the DJing side of it. So I basically just put down my headphones and picked up the mic and carried on like that.
It's also a lot easier to carry a mic to a gig than 40 crates, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, everything's changed now. DJs, they walk up to a rave with nothing. Like their headphones can fit in their pocket, and their USB even smaller. And so yeah, man. But I definitely am glad that I made the choice I did and carried on being an MC, because I actually always wanted to be a rapper. When I was a kid and I was at school, I always wanted to be a rapper. And then now, when I was into drum and bass, just solely drum and bass, I didn't really feel like I was living the dream that I always wanted to. And then we've spanned out into hip hop and grime, and now suddenly I feel like I can express myself a bit more on some of these slower beats, and potentially be more of the rapper that I always wanted to be.
Yeah, and we're both where we can. We've actually got tracks on the label that we both produced. So. Wheelers from the Earth was produced by Deeza. He actually produced that beat. And then our release that's actually just come out today, Say No More, I produced that beat. So yeah, we both do have the capability to produce. I wouldn't say we would produce for other people, but we're quite happy to make beats for ourselves,
Well, let me ask you then. I'll put this one out to you, Starz. What tools are you using when producing? Is it a lot of analog? Is it a lot more software? And what is it?
To be honest, it's 100% software at the moment. I'd like to get into some more hardware, get some more equipment, as it were, and try and do things a bit more analog. But we currently just do everything through Logic. We've got our Rockets, our KRK Rocket 6s set up with the Mac. And we just do our thing straight through Logic, man. We've got a few sample packs here and there. We try to produce our own sounds as much as we can, but we also do use samples, plenty of samples as well, just as most producers do. So Yeah, man.
No, I hear you. Can I give you a silly little producer joke I came up with?
Far away.
In order to use logic, you have to have reason.
Yeah.
See, you guys like it, but nobody else does. I say it to people like, I don't get it.
You could say the same the other way around as well.
Right.
To use reason, you have to have logic.
Right? So you guys can take that one if you want. You can go ahead and use it. But you know what, Starz, you already answered this question, so I'm going to ask Deeza. Can you tell me about your first rave experience?
Yeah, my first rave experience was a very well-known, like it's almost become infamous in the drum and bass scene now. It's a place called Atomics in Maidstone, and they used to have raves there every week. They had a Friday night there, and they had literally the A-list of drum and bass just playing there every single week. They had Andy C, Stevie Hyper D, Skibbity, you name it, they were there. Mampy Swift, everyone. Yeah, every single week, week in, week out, you had an A-list lineup, and there was just nothing else like it. Still to this day, there's never really been anything like it in the scene. And people came from far and wide to go there. And I went there when I was 16, my first ever time, and had a crazy, crazy night. And it was kind of then as well that it really got drummed into me that I want to be an MC. So I'd already picked up the mic previously to this, at small parties and stuff. But yeah, when I went there, it was really drummed into me that this is what I wanted to do.
Was there someone specifically you saw on the mic? Because you named a lot of names, but I didn't hear any MCs. Was there someone that you saw on the mic that inspired you to want to be a drum and bass MC?
Yeah, Shabba, actually. It was Shabba.
I hear a lot of his influence in you, and it's not in a like I've heard a lot of guys in the past that it's like, wow, dude, stop trying to imitate Shabba. Whereas you, I can just hear the influence. I hear the influence of fun in you. I hear the influence of a lot of the pioneers of our MCs, but you've made it your own. And yeah, and you've grown a lot over the years too, Deeza. I've only recently started listening to you and Starz, but I've gone back in the archives and listened to you guys grow. In my last few months listening to you, I've listened to a few years of growth, and I can only see you guys getting even better from where you are now. So,
yeah,
Starz, I'm gonna throw this one over to you. What changes have you noticed in the scene from the day you entered to where we are today?
Oh, God, it is mad. It's changed a lot, but there are a lot of things that are still very the same. So one of the things that's changed the most for me is the amount of females there are on the scene now. So when I first started, literally you had Lady MC, Chickaboo, and Tali. They were like the only 3 female MCs like in the whole game ever. And so now, but when I started, there was me, and then there was my friend who used to MC as well. And so it was, to me, there was only 5 girls in the game all together. Then, obviously, as time's gone on now, it's, the playing field is very much being evened out. There's a lot more females in the scene, and there's a lot of talent out there as well, So that's one of the biggest changes I think I've seen in the scene.
I get you, and I agree with you. There's definitely more females in the scene, but one lady that I think we left off the list is Dyer. Lady Dyer's been...
yeah, sure.
And the thing is, I know she gets lost out in LA, but she was honestly the first lady MC, and this is where I may sound like an asshole, but I'll say, like, a lot of times I heard females on the mic, and I was like, I just don't like it. I don't like what it sounds like. I don't like the voice. I don't like the flow. And then when I heard Dyer, I was like, now that I like. And to be honest with you, Starz, you are another one where it's like, now that I like. Especially the tandem of the two of you going off each other. Wow. We have a band over here called Alexis on Fire. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they're a heavy metal band that uses 2 lead singers. One of them's melodic, and the other one's a screamer. Does like that death metal screaming type stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm not into that stuff. But when I heard the 2 of them go together, the way that it played off each other, it was beautiful. And listening to the 2 of you is the same thing. It's like the 2 of you together is just something amazing. And is there going to be another Pyro Radio set coming up?
Yeah. We're just about to put the artwork up for the next one. The official video from Pyro, the black and white video, will be coming out any day now from the last show with Maddie V, P.K, and then Warden, J Wills, and Low B. Those 2 videos will come in literally, as I say, any time now. And then the next show is on the 5th of November. We've got some wicked guests lined up for that. One very special guest MC coming, and so yeah, the artwork for that should be going out tomorrow.
You know what? Your artwork, actually, now that you're mentioning artwork, I have a picture of the two of you up where you're both wearing, I believe, a logo for Starz and Deeza. It's the 3 stars. Am I right?
Yeah, 3 stars.
Right? Who designed that artwork for you, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I mean, the original, the actual logo, basically that was a real turning point in our careers. We actually used to be Deeza and Starz. People just kind of always referred to us as Deeza and Starz. I don't know why, if it's just a subconscious thing, people put the male first, but it was always Deeza and Starz. And then one day, basically, we decided, we're talking about rebranding ourselves. We even considered, maybe changing the name or starting a sort of
collective.
Yeah, becoming a collective. So we were still Deeza and then Starz, but having a sort of collective that we go under, just because we were felt like something needed to change and we needed to rebrand. And then one day we basically had this idea to create a logo. So it was like a star that goes into a D. And that was sort of the idea. Then we had this crazy drunk night at our friend's house. Yeah, Christmas Eve actually. And we were with our friends Rasheen and Jack. And basically he's actually a graphic designer. And so I was sitting there, I was drunk, I was just telling him about this idea. He said, all right, let's jump on the computer and let's make it. So he jumped straight on the computer and we started sort of designing this thing. And then he did the 1 star and then the D. And then I was like, no, it's not right. It's just not quite right. I said, because it's stars, it's plural. So then he put, boom, 1, 2, 3 stars, and then the 3 stars and then the D next to it, and it just worked. And it just, as soon as we saw it, we said, boom, that's it. And that was actually the original logo that didn't have the drips. And then basically we just sort of wanted to make a little edit of it at some stage about a year after the initial logo was born. And then we got our friend Alex Max, Poseidon Visuals, to make the edit of just adding the drips. And then we liked that so much, everyone else seemed to like it so much as well. That basically is just stuck now. Where that was supposed to just be another version of our logo, that's now become our main logo, the one with the drips, really. It just works. And so, yeah, now we have the brand, the name, obviously, 3 stars and a D, Starz and Deeza. Everyone that sees the logo as well, they always say how sick it is. They love it. People sometimes stop us in the street saying like, oh, what's that logo? Starz got stopped at work, people asking her what that logo is. Is it some kind of brand or...
I got asked if it was a baseball team's logo or something like that. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so people seem to love it, man. So we're really happy with actually how that all turned out in the end.
Well, and I gotta say, it does what a logo is supposed to do, and that's it sticks out. Like, it made me want to ask the question, right? So, I got to get one of those shirts. I got to get me a Starz and Deeza shirt.
No worries. We actually need to get some more stock in, but we can send you one out, no problem.
Yeah, and if people do want to get their hands on your gear, where would they go? Is it available for purchase?
It is available, yeah. As I say, we do need to get restock, but yeah, we had a few batches of the merchandise. We had baseball caps and then T-shirts and stuff, which all sold out very quickly. People were just getting in touch with us directly on Facebook or Instagram, or Twitter, just direct messaging us, and obviously we were sorting out the sale and posting it out to them. We do plan to actually get a website made as soon as possible, where everything will be available on there, from our tracks to our merchandise. In the meantime, we might put them up on some of these other sites that you can use, like Big Cartel. We just need to get restocked, and then we'll sort that out.
Totally get you, buddy. Okay, Starz, let me ask this question to you. Do you believe that MCs are getting the respect they deserve in today's drum and bass culture?
I think it depends on what subgenre you're talking about to start with, and I think it also depends on what you mean by respect, because I think a lot of this it's a very well known fact that a lot of MCs are quite egotistical, and what they would deem as respect may actually just be deemed as the limelight being solely on them. So I think it does depend on the genre, to be fair. But I mean, I think, to be honest, the MCs that are absolutely killing it and setting the trends, yeah, they are getting the respect that they deserve. I think it's very difficult in drum and bass because it's quite a small, even though it's worldwide, when you look at other genres of music, drum and bass is actually still quite a small genre, so it's quite hard to break through and to get, like, you know, up there with the big dogs and have your name on those up there headlining these big raves and stuff like that. It is difficult because it's such a small scene. But as it's expanding, people are getting recognition. You know, there's been a fair few people over the last few years that I've noticed have got up there and they're getting the recognition they deserve, you know. And I think as the scene grows, it then actually becomes easier for people to break through and come in because the scene is a bigger scene and more people are involved in it.
Yeah, and what you're saying to me is profound. I get what you mean about the subgenres. I think that chatty MCs, like lyrical MCs like yourselves, will get better respect in, let's say, jump up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, we like to pride ourselves in doing a bit of everything. So, you know, we don't just now, we're actually even starting to go into different realms of drum and bass. So we're quite well known for jump up, right? And whether that be jump up, drum and bass, jump up, grime, even hip hop, you know, all of our music's quite hype and uplifting, if you like, yeah? But we're actually, we are looking to be branching into different types of music. So, you know, we've done a couple of tunes on our label that are liquid. You know, we've been working on some really dark sort of techie drum and bass recently. We've got some sort of more deep, mellow grime that we're working on, you know, which is a lot more deep and a lot more kind of spiritual and things like that. So, yeah, I think I think as an artist, especially if you're trying to be versatile, it's important to dabble in all of those different all of the different types of music, you know.
I also think, tell me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I've also said at times that drum and bass isn't a platform for the deepest of messages. Like, you know, people on the dance floor aren't necessarily listening to, you brought up, for instance, spirituality. I think there's a lot of forums that have great beats for spiritual lyrics. I just don't know if drum and bass is the place for them. Like when I listen to a drum and bass MC, I'm listening for moving, grooving, dancing, you know, like getting people moving and pumping. When I start hearing like, you know, I was born at the age of da-da-da, and my daddy did this. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? That's a hip-hop song. Like, that's not for... Do you get what I'm...
I think as well, because drum and bass is... I think you may not agree with me when I say this, but drum and bass is a lot about escapism. You know, people go out raving, yeah? They go out to get away from their day-to-day lives, to get away from the struggles and the realness that is reality. So then when you start talking about the realness and reality on drum and bass, it doesn't go down as well as, for example, if you're doing it on a different genre of music, which is a little bit more about, not necessarily about escapism, you know?
No, thank you, Art, for articulating that for me, because yes, that's exactly what I mean. I'm here to have fun, and now you're talking to me about your issues.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you for helping me get through that. Deeza, I'll throw this one out to you. What other tandem duos did you guys... You brought up Cypress Hill earlier. Is there any other duos that you and Starz, I guess, would have got inspiration from when creating your tandem style?
Yeah, I mean, one of the key duos, especially in drum and bass, has got to be the Ragged Twins. We look up to them massively. We're actually so blessed that we got to do the Pyro radio show with them as well. About 4 or 5 months ago. That was amazing. That was like a dream come true. And I mean, they've always been a massive inspiration to us because they're so tight in what they do. You know, because me and Starz we've written bars together for 11 years now. We've been MCing together for 11 years. But still, we would sometimes stand there and watch the Ragged Twins and just be like, man, these guys are so tight with what they do. You know, you don't even catch a syllable really that's out of sync with the other one. And so as I say, even after 11 years, me and Starz felt like we still weren't that tight with our delivery. You know, and it's something we have been working on, and we always will be working on, to be quite as tight as that, because that's one thing that really stood out to me about the Ragged Twins. They can MC together. They'll both be spitting the same bar together. And if you look away, it's almost like you just hear one person there, but maybe in stereo, you know. So definitely, yeah, Ragged Twins, always been a couple that stood out to us. I mean, of newer times, Azza and Grimer, obviously they're unbelievable. They're so sick of what they do. But they've got that different kind of style to Ragga Twins. Azza and Grime is more back and forth and, you know, really sort of aggressive back and forth, whereas Ragga Twins is, you know, much more in sync and delivery, like, you know, they're delivering the bars at the same time together. And obviously what me and Starz have different from the Ragga Twins is obviously one's male, one's female. We've got different tones in our voices. So, you know, I've had to sort of bring my tone down, or up a bit rather sometimes to get in sync with Starz, and Starz has to work with it with me as well. And we've tried to master this sound, you know, so we're both projecting our voices at the same time, but it's, you know, it's sounding in sync. And so yeah, that's one of the key people that have stuck out to me.
Well, it's interesting to me because there's a conscious effort to try and layer yourself over top of each other, as well as bounce off, like you say, the highs and lows.
Yeah.
You guys, like I say, keep doing what you're doing, because listening to it as condensed as I did, I can hear the growth. Like I say, in 2 years, I can hear it in the last 2 months of listening to you. And I can't wait to what's going to happen in the next year. With that, I got to ask, what are you working on? I'll throw this one to you, Deeza. What are you working on, and where can people find it?
You know, we're really pushing our Spotify at the moment. We're working on a lot of stuff. As Star sort of touched on, we're basically just trying to span into as many genres or sub-genres as possible. We're not going out of our way, you know, breaking our backs to do a genre that we're not comfortable with. It is more of a thing, we hear a beat and we sit there and we work out if we can catch a vibe off it or not.
Well, we've got such a wide taste in music between us.
And yeah, we've generally got a very wide taste in music, so if it sounds right, you know, then we can get hype on it. If it doesn't sound right, then we'll probably just, you know, pass it on. But we've got some grime tracks coming out. We had one come out yesterday, or today actually rather, and then another one coming out in 2 days time, then another one coming out towards the end of the month. So the one that came out today was Say No More. Sunday we've got Lift Off coming out. Towards the end of the month we've got What I'm On coming out. Another drum and bass mix in the pipeline. I don't know if you've heard our first one, beat for beat, bar for bar. We actually put the mix together ourselves. We DJ'd and put that together ourselves, and then lay the bars over the top. So we're doing volume 2 of that. Working on an album as well, which is going to be basically just a rap album. So it's going to have all genres on. It's going to have drum and bass, hip hop, and grime. And then the main platforms that, you know, people can find it on is, to be honest, everywhere. Our record label and our distributor has got our music onto everywhere. So we're on Deezer, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, SoundCloud, YouTube. You name it, we're on there basically.
Perfect. And there will be links below when I do post this, so you guys can check out their sounds. Starz, I'm going to throw this one over to you. This is a fun one. So these are my last 2 questions. These are just fun ones, so please have fun with this, okay? Starz, if you could put 5 items in a vault that would encapsulate our rave culture. So in like 20,000 years, they're going to dig up this vault. We want them to know what the rave once was. And you can put anything in this vault. It's the size of a country. So you can put a whole club, you can put people, you can put whatever you want. What 5 items do you put in the vault?
Oh. Okay, well, there's got to be a big bag of drugs in there. Like various drugs. Like, that's the first thing. From the day I started raving, like, it's got a massive drug culture, and I don't care what anybody says. That is a lot of what drum and bass is about. There are so many drugs and so much of it, whether it be smoking weed or flipping sniffing K, it doesn't matter. The fact is, it's got a big drug culture, so I definitely have a huge bag of drugs in there. There'd have to be a strobe light in there, of course. I think I'm sorry to say this, it's not like I want him to, I hope he'd survive, but I'd want to put Andy C in there, because he encapsulates like the whole of drum and bass. And then I'd probably put, I'd have to put a bunch of ravers in there as well, having a sesh. Okay. Like, there has to be a sesh in there, because what's a rave without a sesh afterwards?
And we're gonna hold on, and I'm gonna allow you to presume that Andy brought all of his equipment and shit with him, so he's not just sitting there with all of them sessioning, going, "I'm Andy C."
Yeah, and saying that, actually, I'll tell you what. And then what I would do, I would put Bagley's nightclub in there. That was one of my favorite nightclubs that I ever went to. It was one of the legendary nightclubs in King's Cross in London, and anyone that's been in the scene for more than 10 years would probably agree that Bagley's was one of the grottiest, but one of the greatest places that drum and bass ever thrived in.
That's awesome, and thank you for sharing that. My insight into your venues for those was through Drum and Bass Arena. So anywhere I could watch the videos, I could see your venues. Otherwise, I didn't know anything. Nowadays, you can see everything on YouTube. But I missed out. Is it called Bigley's? You said
Bagley's.
Bagley's. Is Bagley's still around, or is it gone?
No, man. Bagley's closed down back in 2007, I think. Maybe 2006, but it closed down. And it's now actually, they closed it down to build a train line. The train line was all built, but where the actual club was is now actually a recording studio. So it's quite cool. They've kept it in with the music. I actually saw a video recently of DJ Zinc. He did a little video on Instagram where he's outside Bagley's when I think he'd just been into their recording studios or something like that. And so it's cool that it's still music based, that spot is still for music. So that's cool.
I get you. And you know what? That's something to shout out. DJ Zinc, if you follow him on Instagram or Facebook, the videos he puts up are awesome. So I suggest get on that. He's fun to watch. Okay, Deeza, here we go. Final question. I got to ask first, are you familiar with Mount Rushmore, the four faces carved into stone?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I'm going to ask you, if we were to create a Mount Rushmore for our jungle industry, which four faces would you put up there?
Stevie Hyper D, he would have to go up there because, as most of the drum and bass scene would agree, he is one of the most legendary MCs to ever grace the stages of drum and bass raves. And he's still a living legend to this day. Andy C, I think I'd have to agree with Starz about him being one of the top artists of drum and bass of all time. Probably Randall as well. Everyone loves Randall. Let's see, and then I've got one more. Probably, if we couldn't fit Starz and Deeza both into the last person, then I would say probably Skibbity for me. He is the top MC really of drum and bass. He can come with any bar, any lyric, any flow, and
he's actually sick on other genres as well.
Yeah, really, really talented on other genres of music, and an all-round really nice guy, and definitely one of the legends of drum and bass. So I think my answers would have to be Skibbity, Stevie Hyper D, Andy C, and Randall. I'm probably forgetting someone that I'm going to kick myself for not saying later on, but yeah, I think they're the four off the top of my head.
I promise you will not get a phone call from anyone saying, how could you leave me off that list? But here's the thing, and I got to say it because the names you named are perfect, but they're close to what I named for my own personal, which is the Telepathy set. That Andy C with Stevie, Skibba, and Det?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, that set just, I don't know, I heard it for the first time in 99, and now it's 2019, I'm still playing it at least once a month.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I'd be Brocky and Det. There was a Millennium set. I can't remember which rave it was from, but when the Millennium came, I had the cassette of this set, and I used to play it in my Walkman every day when I was going to college. I just used to keep that cassette in there every day to and from college for months and months, and I was listening to that. And that was one of my all-time favourite sets, actually. The same way you said about the Telepathy set, the Brocky and Det set from the Millennium rave somewhere. That was one of my all-time favourite sets ever.
There you go.
So yeah, if I could have an extra two people there, it would be Brocky and Det as well.
Well, and with that, I have to say, people, don't forget, December the 6th at Peaceful Entertainment at Wax Nightclub, and then You and Me Productions, which is my production company, we're bringing Brocky and Det to One Loft on Saturday, December 7th. So, wish we could have Starz and Deeza out here to appreciate that with us, but they'll be on the other side of the Atlantic, I believe, at that time. Guys, I want to say thank you for taking the time. I'm going to sign off to my listeners, but I would like to talk to the two of you a little bit more, so please stay on the phone, okay?
No worries, man. Thank you
Sure.
for getting us on, man.
Yeah, big up all the listeners as well.
Yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure to talk to these people. Amazing artists here in Starz and Deeza, Deeza and Stars, however you want to say it. As always, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, guys, peace out.